It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it's great to have you in studio with us today. We're going to be talking about Compassion and Choices of Northern Arizona Chapter. We have two guests today. Team leader Leesa Stevens, welcome to studio.
Thank you.
And volunteer George Bein, welcome to studio.
Thank you, Paul.
A couple of pieces of information for you that we always like to give out, and I'll do this again in between the breaks, as I always do, just so if you need to write this down. To get in contact with Leesa, go to Leesa@choicesarizona.org, and Leesa is Leesa. Or you can go to Facebook, which is probably where most people will go. Facebook, Compassion and Choices Northern Arizona. So those are two contacts. Let's jump right into it. Compassion and Choices. What is Compassion and Choices?
Well, Compassion and Choices is the nation's oldest and largest nonprofit organization striving to improve care and expand options at the end of life through supportive individuals and families, education and advocacy at the local, state, and national levels. They believe people, not healthcare systems, should be in charge of their own healthcare decisions. Their vision is a society that affirms life and accepts the inevitability of death, embraces expanded options for compassionate dying, and empowers everyone to choose end-of-life care that reflects their values, priorities, and belief. They are a wonderful resource for information on hospice, advanced directives, palliative care, and medical aid in dying.
So before the show, that's kind of what you're talking about, the umbrella, and then all these other things around down below. You just mentioned a bunch of them.
Right. Compassion and Choices is the organization, and it provides information on anything you would want to know about end-of-life care.
Okay, all right, end of life. And that's what we're talking about today is end-of-life care.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. The choice to end your life is what we're really talking about today.
Correct.
Depending on what your conditions are.
If you're terminally ill.
Terminally ill. Okay,
Yes.
so this is criteria. Now maybe we should back up a little bit. This is a nationwide effort.
Exactly.
We're not just talking about Leesa and George here in the Verde Valley and Sedona.
No.
So can you give us a little background on just what it means nationwide?
Well, it's almost totally a volunteer grassroots effort. Although it's the largest, they really only employ about 30 people. Otherwise, state by state, we have groups of volunteers that are trying to get the message out, educate people, and advocate for this. So here in Arizona, we have 3 chapters, one in Central Phoenix and one down in Tucson, and we're up here in Northern Arizona. And George is part of a team that I lead of 5 individuals, and we are out within the community spreading the word.
So there's 5 of you.
Yeah.
So I guess my next question, volunteers are always welcome.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So volunteers, I guess, again, if you need to find out more information, you can contact Leesa at Leesa@choicesarizona.org, and Leesa is Leesa, or just go to the Facebook page. Can they get hold of you through the Facebook page, Compassion and Choices Northern Arizona, or better off using that probably the email?
Probably the email would be better.
Okay. Leesa@choicesarizona.org. Okay, so this is all across the country, and here in Arizona, we've got 3 chapters: Tucson, Phoenix, Northern Arizona.
Correct.
So what do you do? I mean, how do you even approach this and get it rolling like that? Because this is a sensitive subject.
Yes, it is. It is. Because we feel, first of all, we want it to be legal nationwide. And it's only legal now in 8 states plus the District of Columbia. And we feel the key words, Paul, are my life, my death, my choice. If it's not for you or anybody else, that's perfectly fine. That's your choice. But my death should be my choice. So we feel that a person who's already dying, who's terminally ill, as diagnosed by 2 physicians, and who will be dying within 6 months anyway, should have the right to make a choice about achieving a peaceful death with dignity. And the alternative might otherwise be a a very painful death, a very undignified death, where they're suffering in pain. And that doesn't have to be. So why not allow that person to have a prescription by a physician legally to take a drug at a time of their choosing, when perhaps they've decided, I've had enough, I can't go on anymore like this, to take a drug, perhaps having some beautiful music in the background, perhaps having some loving family members around them, whatever environment they would like, to take that drug and peacefully end their life.
Okay, so their time to say goodbye.
Time
they get
to
to
say
pick how they're
goodbye.
going to do it.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what we're talking about today.
Exactly.
That's the idea.
Right. And as
Go
I
ahead.
said, there are very strict criteria that must be met.
Should we go through those? Because you mentioned a few while you were just
Yeah.
giving that talk
Yeah.
right there. But go ahead, give us some of the criteria. that
Very quickly. There are
Okay.
2 physicians that must certify that this person has less than 6 months to live. Counseling is required on all alternatives, such as hospice or palliative care and pain management,
for just the person.
for just that person.
Just that person, okay.
2 or more oral requests must be are required, separated by a 15-day waiting period. Person must be 18 years of old or older.
Okay, so let's back up one. So I decided I want to do this drug because I'm going to die in less than 6 months.
Correct.
So I can say, yes, I want this medication, but then I've got to wait an additional 15 days, and then they come back and say, you sure this is something, like I guess most surgeries, before you even go into
Correct.
surgery, they have this as well. Okay, these are the possibilities that might
Right.
happen. Okay, so go ahead.
If there's any concern about coercion or the inability to make an informed decision, evaluation by a mental health professional is required. A separate written request must be signed by 2 witnesses who are not related to you. So the criteria are very, very serious. They're very strict. They want to make sure, is this a decision you really, really, really want to make?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that.
Sure, sure.
This isn't something that you just decide one day and think, well, in 2 weeks, I'm going to have the drug. There's a time period involved to find the doctors, to make sure that everything is as you would want it. So the average time span is really 3 months from start to finish. So it's something that a person has some time to really, truly consider whether this is right for them.
Okay, so from the diagnosis of, okay, you're terminally ill, there's nothing we can do for you. If you've got less than 6 months, in that time period, almost half of that is going to be used by just trying to decide whether or not you want to be able to do this or
Right.
Plus, you could rescind your decision at any time.
not. Sure. Well, you said before the show about a third of the people
They don't.
eventually don't take
They
this
don't,
drug.
just don't take it. But it gives them a sense of relief that is there if I want to.
Exactly.
I can do it if I want to. And
Their choice,
It's
again.
their choice.
Yeah.
My life, my death, my choice.
Okay, all right. Should we take our first break?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we've got to take our first break, okay? Team leader Leesa Stevens in studio today, volunteer George Bein, the Northern Arizona chapter of Compassion and Choices. Their Facebook page is Compassion and Choices Northern Arizona. Stick around countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at SaveTheFood.com.
I got some Oxy after I hurt my neck. First, I took them to feel better. Then, I just kept taking them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good.
I'm here to talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I bring the Halo world to life.
Is that you?
That is me. I wasn't a math genius and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things.
I want your job.
I want you to have my job.
Sometimes, one moment changes everything. One song, one game, one adventure, one mission. For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. You can transform lives, one wish at a time. Support Make-A-Wish and help grant more life-changing wishes. Learn more at wish.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're sitting now with the Northern Arizona chapter of Compassion and Choices leader Leesa Stevens and George Bein. Again, Leesa at choicesarizona.org. Leesa's L-E-E-S-A. It's coming up on the screen as well, but those of you listening on the radio, I'll make sure to make a point of that. And the Facebook page is Compassion and Choices Northern Arizona. They do have multiple events to learn more information. I'm just holding up the flyer that I downloaded, but there's multiple ways to find out more information coming up throughout the month of November. You've got dates of November 7th, the 12th, 13th, the 15th, the 19th, 27th, different times of the day and different locations. So if you go to the Facebook page, all that information is there. All right, we wanted to come back in and talk about where this is currently legal in the country. George made slight mention of it at the beginning there, but where was it legal?
Well, 7 states and the District of Columbia. The oldest one is Oregon, which is in '94. And they did that through a ballot initiative, something that we in Arizona are pretty darn familiar with, especially with an election coming up next week. Washington legalized it in '08, also a ballot initiative. Montana in '09 through their state Supreme Court. So that was kind of a quirky little thing, very difficult to do. Vermont in '13 through legislative action. California in '15 through legislative action. Colorado in '16 through a ballot initiative. District of Columbia in '17 through legislation, and Hawaii in '18 through legislation. So you can see within the past 4 years we've had one region or state per year kind of gaining momentum. And with us in the western states, we have the option of a ballot initiative. That isn't available in many of the eastern states, so they only have one way to go.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're obviously going to be going with the ballot initiative if it becomes a thing.
Well, no, because Colorado did it through a ballot initiative, but Compassion and Choices, and there's another end-of-life organization as well, they fund this. A ballot initiative in Colorado costs $5.75 million, with $5 million against the initiative.
Oh, wow.
So that is the last choice because it's very, very expensive. Legislation is the first route that we like to take because that's just boots on the ground talking to our legislators.
Get our legislators on board with it. They come up with a bill. It gets passed. The governor signs it, and therefore it's a done deal. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that the free route? Not really.
Well,
no. It takes some time, but
it's time and effort.
I can see why that route would be the way you go.
Quite so much money. I mean, we're obviously not paying anybody. Some advertising maybe for it, but mostly it's just time and effort on the volunteers.
So you're out and about right now trying to drum up public support, and then the public support's going to have to contact their legislators and say, "Hey, we're pro this." It's almost like a ballot initiative, but we're just encouraging the public to contact their state legislators and let them know that this is what we want to do. And get their ear listening as well. And where? Okay, so the next question we've got here is where in Arizona, in terms, are we with this right now? Where are we at? Is it just beginning?
Well, we've tried to pass legislation since 2006.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so it has been going on for a while. Almost every year we've had bills submitted. In 2018, we had 4 bills submitted. They end up in the Senate and House Health Committees, and there they have died since 2006.
What's the killer of them?
The killer is that the chairs of those committees do not want to present them to their committees for discussion, and without going through the committee discussion process and being passed on to the whole of the legislature, they die there. So they're really controlled by 2 people.
2 people, right, the heads of those chambers. Okay.
Yeah.
How do we get those people to go ahead and slide it forward? Because since it's been 2006, obviously there's something in there they're looking at and saying, no, we don't like this idea. Too controversial?
Too controversial, and other political elements are at play, as you might imagine.
Okay.
So we have really had strong conversations with both of these people and just cannot move them off the dime.
Okay. Wow. All right. So it's really up to the public. You said grassroots. You said grassroots in the first segment, so that's exactly what it is. It's definitely grassroots.
Exactly.
I've been hearing that a lot lately in the state of Arizona. A lot of grassroots stuff going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone's getting kind of busy. Anything else we want to talk in regards to that, or do we want to hit up the fact that we've got these events coming up that people can go and learn more information? Because anybody who's been watching the show or listening on the radio, you know how countywide works. It's really a very punch list thing. There's far more detail we could go into with all this stuff, but we have 20 minutes to do it in. So
well, they'll have an opportunity with these events that are coming up to really learn a whole lot more. If they have any doubts about what medical aid in dying is, and therefore that might give them more incentive to contact the legislators later on. If they see how important this is and how important it might be in their own lives, actually, and why that choice might be something they might want to have for themselves and for their family members.
Okay.
So these are going to be very important events coming up.
Leesa definitely said she wanted to hit November 13th. Right. That's the key one. And I think maybe with this being, as we mentioned, grassroots effort, contact your legislators and things like that. Anybody who feels like they're in support of it right now or takes the time between now and November 13th to kind of research some of this through the Facebook page, Compassion and Choices Northern Arizona, maybe that's a very good time for those folks to show up and pack the Sedona City Council chamber, standing room only, out the door, and we got to put up TV screens so people can see what's going on.
Right, and if I could just say a word about that.
Sure.
The idea behind going to the City Council is having them pass a resolution of support to send to our newly elected legislature in 2019. This has resolutions or documents of support have already been passed in Oro Valley, Tucson, and Bisbee. So we are looking to have a presence up here in northern Arizona to tell our legislators this community in northern Arizona is interested in this issue. We would like you to support it, and here's the community resolution behind it.
Okay, all right. The municipalities, get them behind it.
Exactly
That'll
right.
help. Okay, that's going to help a lot.
Exactly right. And after Sedona, we'd like to move into other communities and cities up here as well. So if your listeners are out there, are from other communities and would like to kind of get this ball rolling, we'd be happy to help.
Okay. All right. Let's take our next break. Northern Arizona chapter of Compassion and Choices is in studio today. Team leader Leesa Stevens, volunteer George Bein. It's Leesa at choicesarizona.org, and the Facebook page is Compassion and Choices Northern Arizona. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Today is the beginning of a bright new future for this country.
Live a life on my knees.
The voters are coming.
I am the Savior. We are the Savior.
When you are in space, you can't run down to the store to buy parts. You have to improvise with what you have on your mission. Making is when there is something new that was not in existence at the beginning of the day.
Okay.
It's an incredible sense of accomplishment when you have made something. That's why I make. Now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Welcome back at Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left in the program. Again, we want to talk about the fact that there are a lot of events coming up in the next month, throughout the month of November. Also, Leesa said there, if you go to compassionandchoices.org, that is the national site.
Exactly.
So it'll probably have even more information. So once you go to theirs and take a look at that, you can always go to compassionandchoices.org. That's not been showing up on the screen while we've been talking, but that is another option as well. That's what it's all about, is choices.
Choices,
George has mentioned that several
self-determination,
times.
autonomy, personal values. Yes, my life, my death, my choice.
My choice. First one's coming up on, we are going to go through these, Wednesday, November 7th at 12:30. Ollie Lunch and Learn at Yavapai College Sedona campus.
Yes.
That's going to be from, to 12:30 it starts. And these are all kind of, is it pretty much just constant education about the whole thing, or are we breaking it down into different kinds of topics throughout
it's
this?
education, but everyone is different. The first one at Ollie is just a straight presentation, mostly on medical aid and dying.
Okay.
But the second one is a panel discussion, and they're advanced directives, hospice, and medical aid and dying, including a representative from the Compassion and Choices organization is there. But that's more of a broad focus.
Okay.
And then we have a movie, and we have a short to start the movie off from actually a Prescott woman who is terminally ill, and she speaks about her thoughts and her reasons for wanting to have medical aid and dying, and is not able to here in Arizona. So it's very powerful, followed by a more international type of a film on some terminally ill, two terminally ill couples.
Okay.
Both very powerful, but they tug at your heart, I think, a little more.
Sure.
And then we have, for those that like to debate, then the fourth event is kind of a participant-based exploration into what you would want to do at the end of life, and it's more an opportunity for you to examine yourself and discuss that amongst people. It's not a lecture at all.
Okay.
And then the fifth one is a book discussion. Someone has written a book on end of life and how it has affected them. So they're all different and presented by different people. I do one, but none of the rest.
But it's all focused on this. All right, Leesa, thanks so much for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure.
It was great meeting you, George. I can reach you from here.
Okay.
There we go. I got these long arms. All right, thank you so much for your time again. CompassionandChoices.org is the national website, or for local stuff, Compassion and Choices Northern Arizona. That is today's countywide. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.